Hi everyone, I think we can start.
Okay, good morning again.
Okay, I guess it's my turn to speak, to present the structure. Welcome to the breaking room of the Green Living Area mission. A very short introduction for you to understand what this breaking room is about. So as previously mentioned, we have offered you an overview of what we do at the Green Living Area mission. And now we will get a bit more into details and present you with two platforms of ours before starting with the dynamic parts of this breaking room, because the breaking room is really about dynamic activity. So first, as I was saying, we will have a short presentation of two platforms of the mission. The first one is the A2 platform, which will be presented by my colleague Magali Outers from MER. And then we'll have a second presentation of another platform, which is policy-oriented, which will be presented by Marina Kota from the University of Patres. And then we'll go on with the dynamic discussion, which will be ensured not by one, but by two, Francesco Filippi and Francesco Molinari of the thematic project Nudges, and which will benefit from the participation of two other projects from the mission Green Living Areas, which are Streets for Citizens and CO2 Pac-Man. And this discussion will be about the achievements of these projects, Nudges, and how the solutions, the achievements it proposes at both at technical and policy level can be adapted in the southern territories of the Med area. Then we will go on with a testimony from a Southern Shore stakeholder. Sid Ali Hasni from Energy Cities Algeria, who will explain us the proposal to develop a specific institutional policy dialogue for Algerian municipalities on the topic of energy communities. And then Bernard Massabo, who you will already know, will wrap up and sum up all the key messages from this session. So without further ado, I will leave the floor to my colleague Magali to present the A2 platform. Magali, the floor is yours.
Thank you for Florian. So I have 5 minutes now, more or less, just because we are short in time. I guess we need to shorten a bit. I will share my screen. Hopefully I can make it. Okay. Great. So I'm going to present very briefly the A2 platform, which is one of an important tool of the Green Living Area mission to present all the solutions, the best solution actually, that are developed by our community, that is formed by 25 thematic projects and around 250 partners. So through this platform, the main objective is to give visibility to the best solution, but also to give visibility to other solutions that are not necessarily developed by the Green Living Area. So we could also include, for example, solutions from the NECBC NECBC project, but also from other mission of Interreg Euro-MED in the platform. So there must be solutions that contribute to building greener living areas, and that are mainly for local and regional authorities. So this is the main objective. And through this platform, we want to disseminate the solution, but most importantly, to support their transferring. So to enhance the impact of the solution. So developing a solution in a project is a very long journey. So it's really a pity to, once the project is ended, to stop and, leave the solution somewhere. So hoping that someone will use it. So we want, through the platform and related activity, to support the transferring so that the solution can be used in other territories, but also they can be mixed together between different solutions addressing different projects. So the platform is now, in a testing phase and will go live at the beginning of next year, but it's already quite consolidated, so I can show you how it looks like. So it's mainly structured around, the main part will be the solutions part, but also the solutions in action, where we show how the solutions are already tested, no? Because in each project, when you develop a toolkit, digital platform, so on and so forth, you need to test them, no? So there are a lot of pilot projects that are developed. So here in the solution in action, we want to show where those pilots are developed and what are the main results, what are the lessons learned and the specific results of those pilots, in order to inspire replication, because we need always need concrete cases. So if we go quickly to the solutions section, as it was mentioned earlier, our community is structured around like 5 main themes. So we have community engagement, energy system, financing, mobility, and resilient planning. So this is how we structure our solutions. And also, most of the solutions that are developed by our community are supporting local plans. We have urban nature plans. We have SECAP plans that are more focusing on sustainable energy and climate actions, and some that are focusing on urban mobility plans. So for each of the solutions, we also indicate to which plan they can support, and also if they are more suitable for coastal areas, ports, rural areas, or urban areas. So if we go, for example, to energy systems, I want just to show you a couple of solutions. So, for example, we have like a toolkit that is basically a consolidation of 3 previous projects. So it's a very consolidated tool that can support, in this case, SECAP, so the Sustainable Energy and Climate Action Plan. So in the platform, we describe so briefly the tool, and then in more details you can see what challenge is addressed through the solution, what is the added value, who developed the tool, and then you can directly access the solution. And here we remind the type of territory and the support. So these are the solution, and then as every solution is tested, here in the next picture we have a map where you can see how where those specific solutions are tested. So this is in a nutshell the platform. On the solution here, for example, there are also solutions related to finances. So if you want to invest like in green building project, you have tools to calculate or to have different financing models and try to optimize their parameters in order to make the best choice for the project. So you have already some tools that are available. And also on mobility, there are also tools for on-demand public transport. That is something that is now quite is rising, no? So as I don't have much time, I will just stop by saying also that in the contacts, we have in the living areas, as it was mentioned by Niels earlier, a lot of territorial antennas. So if you want to contact collaborators, members of the team in specific countries, you have here the specific country, the contact, and also we have a contact for Southern Med countries that would like to approach the mission, and in this case, NEOS is the contact. So I will stop here. So as we said, we'll share this platform more extensively at the beginning of next year, but we wanted to present this, and as we said, this will help us now to include other solutions, so that could be developed also by the next MED program, but also it will be a main, it will be help us to showcase the different solutions in order to support the transfer. So meaning that if they're like partner from the Southern Med that identify an interesting solution and that they would like to receive this solution, there will be mechanism for this, so you can have a look and then contact us to organize this activity. So I will stop here and give back the floor to Florian. Thank you.
Thank you, Magali, for this clear presentation. Now we'll go on with the second platform we'd like to present, which is the Euclid platform. So Marina, I'll let you share your screen.
Thank you, Florian. So I have left here in the chat the link in order for all to navigate to the platform, but I included in my presentations. 1 second. So, okay. Now, can you see my presentation?
Perfectly.
Okay. And that's the same, Florian? Okay.
Yeah, everything is
Okay,
okay.
great. Well, I will try to also speed up a little bit. Just the idea of ours is also to present our methodology, the methodology that we are using in the project in order to exchange, adapt, replicate, and transfer successful policy instruments. Because this is also the idea of our platform, and later on I will just mention some details also on the platform. So just to start, in this slide summarizes our process in a simple and circular way. So we're starting with the connect phase, let's say, which brings together stakeholders, thematic projects, policymakers, and territories working on the green living areas. And the goal is to build a collaborative space to create trust and ensure that Euro-MED experiences and needs are visible at policy level. Next, we identify policy instruments where we map and select the most relevant existing policy strategies, regulatory tools, but also the policy results that are coming from the thematic projects, mostly the ones that are finalizing the project activities. Then we do have the evaluation of the policy instruments and we are preparing recommendations for upscaling them and transferring them to different contexts and territories. Of course, as I mentioned in the beginning, we are implementing the policy dialogues. It's one per year in order to adapt, replicate, and upscale the highly ranked policy instruments. And we are trying to disseminate this knowledge and to communicate it with the high-level policymakers in order to try to contribute also to the upscale of existing policy instruments and to propose additional policy change where necessary. Well, here we can see the institutional policy dialogue path that we are following, starting with the mapping of the policy instruments, going to the evaluation of them, the identification of the most suitable ones to proceed to the next level. Of course, this is made in consultation with the thematic projects through the 4 working groups that we have established, and these have already presented from Bernard and from Magali earlier. We have also established a core group, a group of experts and policymakers who are assisting us in proposing concrete policy recommendations. We are identifying suitable windows, which are opportunities for these recommendations to be presented. For example, one of the policy windows could be a policy event that we're taking part. And of course, we're matching our recommendations with potential takers and the policy instruments with potential takers, where the defined territories that these policy instruments can be replicated. We are implementing our dialogues. Then the findings of the dialogues are being written in position, discussion, and policy papers, which includes also the recommendations of the dialogues that we are implementing, and we are disseminating this knowledge and trying to actually make an impact in the policies around the green living areas development. Here we can see the methodology in detail, let's say. So these are the steps that we are following in order to make this evidence-based policy making. Of course, the criteria that we have established are evaluating the policy instruments in many different levels in order to be able for our consortium to identify which of the policy instruments are indeed capable of and worth discussing more. And of course, which of them match the needs of the thematic projects that are included in our family. I will not go in deep detail. I think that I explained the logic more or less, but this could be useful for you to have also in order to understand better what is the methodology that we are following. So just to mention that all this knowledge is, was up to us internally in the consortium and has been shared with the core group, with the working groups that are including the thematic projects. And then we understand that there is a need to continue this dialogue because it's not easy to achieve from just one dialogue something concrete. So in order to achieve that, we decided to develop a platform that contains all this knowledge and that allows the stakeholders, external ones, the members of the working groups, and also the core group members to exchange through the platform and try to continue this dialogue also through an electronic tool until something concrete is being achieved for the policy instruments. Here you can see also the objectives of the dialogues, which is to promote policy-oriented results and answer the needs of the thematic projects, and of course to engage policy-oriented partners and associated partners. So the main beneficiaries are thematic Interreg Euro-MED projects through reinforced policy relevance and impact of the results. Our regional and local communities benefiting from improved policy frameworks and governance models, policymakers, and civil servants who are gaining knowledge through the methodologies and the recommendations that are produced by our thematic projects. So the platform in brief contains all this knowledge that I mentioned. There is a space dedicated to all of you and external contributors to exchange on the policy instruments. Of course, we have placed there the highly ranked policy instruments. We are not including the whole mapping process that we are analyzing in the Dialogue for Living Areas project, but just the most relevant ones and the ones that are more easy adaptable and transferable to the different territories. And we are placing also there the policy windows that we have identified. So, of course, as we have already mentioned, all the work that we are doing is mainly focused on the 5 working groups. You can see here that we have one on the mobility, one on spatial planning, on how to finance the green transition, one related to the energy systems and to the green community engagement. So these are also the main umbrella topics in which we are placing all the policy instruments and in which we are trying to discuss among us and together with the stakeholders. The platform also includes a map of the policy instruments. Also, the policy instruments are categorized in the different thematic areas of the working groups. As I mentioned, the platform contains also the policy windows, which are concrete and time-sensitive opportunities to adopt, scale, integrate, and improve public policies. These are referring to key events, strategic spaces such as consultations, policy forums, ongoing political processes like policy reforms, government programs, and so on. I will not go into detail. Just I would like to present the idea. Also, there is the members of the platform who have, it is also important to mention that we have a place for desired policy instrument. So if you have identified any policy gaps through this platform, you are free to let us know which is this gap. And then at consortium level, we will discuss it and see what we can offer to you. And that is all as a first introduction from our side. Here you can scan with your phone this QR code in order to navigate to the platform through your phones, but also I placed there the link in the chat. So I will stop sharing and probably go back to Florian for the moderation. Yeah.
Yes. So now it would be time for the dynamic discussion. We'll try to be a bit quicker because we don't have much time left and we still have this testimony of Sidi Ali Hasni after that. So both Francesco, I'll leave you the floor.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I'm starting to share my screen. Can you see the first slide of my presentation?
Yes, it works
Okay.
perfectly.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this session, which we called the sensory policy session. From now on, forget about the dry reports, the endless slideshows. We are here to talk lively about climate action that doesn't just ask you to think differently, but also to feel differently. I'm Francesco Molinari, and I'm here together with another Francesco, Filippi, live from Valencia. Francesco is the director of MUSOL, a Valencia-based NGO which is specialized in capacity building for the public sector. It is especially this organization and Francesco are the brilliant minds behind this wonderful project named Nudges, which was funded by the Interreg Euro-MED Programme. Francesco, it is great to have you here.
Hola, Francesco, and hi to everyone watching. Thank you also for your kind words. It's really a pleasure to be here for me because Nudges project is one of our flagship projects, let's say, one of the projects that we are more proud of. And greetings from rainy Valencia. We are in a sensory policy dialogue. So let's say that today the green park next to my office smells wonderful, just the way it should smell when the climate is not too dry. I hope that my sensory experience translates even through your screens.
For me, it does. Now, let's cut straight to the chase. We all know the problem. People care about climate change, but there is a huge gap between attitude and action.
Yeah.
We have tried mandates, we have tried fines, we have tried incentives. The Nudges project tried something different. We called it the cultural nudge. Francesco, what exactly is a cultural nudge? And why is it the secret sauce we have been missing so far?
Yeah, that's a good question, Francesco, because we are, let's say, surrounded by nudges in our daily life. When we walk in the street, when we go to the supermarket, etc., we are really surrounded by nudges, and probably we are not aware of it most of the time. So start with I can call a standard nudges, let's say, not a cultural nudges, standard nudges, and look at this picture, especially at the left-hand side of this slide. Here, the nudges is creating a contrast between a lift door inviting to use the lift and the sign inviting people to take the stair instead. Here is in Spanish, but if you can read what is written now in this picture, these sentences are inviting people to use stairs and have benefit for their own health, let's say. On the other side of the slide, you can find an approximation, I mean, let's say, to a cultural nudges. It's the same idea, stairs against elevators, but now stairs, they are not only a message regarding your the benefit on your health. There is painted a piano keyboard, let's say, and here is a slide, so we can't hear the sound. But if we put the video, if you play the video of these, let's say, cultural nudges, when you use the stairs, you are playing the piano that is painted on the stairs. So there is also the sound dimension that is embedded in these cultural nudges. In our project, Nudges project, we went one step further. We leverage the power of local culture. We try to embed the nudges, not only the cultural and art dimension, but we try to link the cultural nudges to local culture, to local and shared identity, and to our five senses, in order to make sustainable choices not just easy or easier to other choices, but also desirable and, let's say, meaningful and funny. So to summarize, we're not just moving the fruit bowl, we are making the fruit taste like home, like tradition, like community.
So it's about making the emotional connection, and it is about identity, right?
Yeah, yes. Actually, it's not just an idea that we had at the beginning of this project. There are researches that have been done, especially by our university and academic partners, the University d'Annunzio in Italy and the University of Aristotle University of Thessaloniki. Research that showed that when you link climate action to things that people already value, their local cuisine, their art, etc., the change is deeper, but also the change lasts longer, is more sustainable on the time. Sorry.
So, okay, I'm not sure I got it, but let's try to prove it. The Nudges project ran 6 pilots across the Mediterranean, each one focused on a different sense, plus one using all the 5 senses. Francesco, let's try to give our audience a rapid sensory tour of what was done in these 6 pilots. Are you ready?
Yeah, okay, go.
Okay. So let's start with taste. How did nudges use the Mediterranean's most famous sense to drive policy change? The Mediterranean diet and all the related dishes.
Yes. Yes, probably this was, among other senses, the most easy to use because you are a Euro-MED, a MED, let's say, Mediterranean cooperation project. The partner in charge of this, let's say, pilot was the Aristotle University of Thessaloniki. So it's a wonderful location to test a taste pilot. What the project did was co-designed with the private sector, especially with the restaurants, local restaurant owners, a new menu design. We were not, let's say, including a mandatory menu, sustainable menu, but what we did, the menu design made the climate-friendly option the most appealing, the most, let's say, culturally resonant choice. So what the policy value of this test, of these pilots? It shows how local economic sectors can be self-regulating and not applying a regulation imposed by authorities in climate mitigation, in promoting climate-friendly habits, also in restaurants.
Next is hearing. This is your home turf in Spain. How do you nudge with sound?
Yes, we did this pilot in Madridejos in Castilla-La Mancha region here in Spain, and we use a sound cues, sound nudges, let's say, next to a school in order to promote that parents bring their children to school walking and avoiding traffic jam that were produced by the vehicles before the nudges. What we used in sound, we used, let's say, bird songs, but also traditional sounds and instruments, etc., that are linked to the saffron culture. This area is an agricultural area that produces a lot of saffron. And the nudging was very subtle. Children were encouraged to walk instead of being driven, not by a poster, a seal, but interacting and by a pleasant and natural soundscape. It was, if I remember well, the only pilot we have implementing related to mobility. So probably the policy value of this pilot is this one. It's a low cost but high impact nudges that embed sustainable mobility into urban planning with the cultural and artistic intervention in public space.
I love that. Now smell. Smell was located in Slovenia. How did they make policy smell good?
Well, in Slovenia they were lucky because with this wonderful forest they have and this botanical garden, it was really a perfect location to test this kind of nudges based on smell. And actually they focused on herbal scents and gardens. Participants in some workshop created spreads and hydrolytes using local plants, local aromatic plants. And the act of engaging with the local flora, let's say, created this sensory link to sustainable habits. They had also the possibility to, let's say, to experiment, to test the impact of climate change on these aromatic herbs and on the smell of their areas, the location where the pilot was done. So it demonstrates that this pilot demonstrates that also cultural heritage and very local resources, because the aromatic herbs they use are local, let's say, floral species can be leveraged for community engagement and environmental education and changing habits of course, pro climate friendly habits.
Let's move to touch, the tactile experience in Pescara, Italy.
Yeah, the University of D'Annunzio, the partner in Italy, I think that they are the most artistic. They had the most artistic approach among all the partners. They use tactile theater and crafts to engage teenager. And what is the point, let's say, of this pilot is that the nudges based on touch was carried out in a economically vulnerable area. So the teenagers that were involved in this activity came mainly from vulnerable families. And these hands-on creative activities promoted community belonging and social awareness, which are, in our opinion, and according to the result, we are right, are the precursors to environmental actions. I think that these activities, this artistic activity, improved a lot the sense of agency of the vulnerable young people. They feel that they can change things. So I think that the point and the main, let's say, value at policy level of this pilot is that we have proved that cultural nudges can be a powerful tool also for social inclusion, and they have a value in vulnerable neighborhoods and communities.
Now, site. Let's go to Bulgaria.
Yes, Bulgaria. It was based on site, and especially they used the visual arts and satire, because the partner in charge of this pilot was the Gabrovo Museum of Visual Arts and Satire. They ran a cartoon contest especially with young people of Gabrovo. And this turned textile waste into a public art conversation. So the visual nudge was, say, itself was art, and sparking a dialogue and shifting perception about especially waste, especially about topics related with waste. So it's a very good example of how local authorities can use, let's say, cultural policy to address waste management and circular economic goals, and take into account that the local authorities normally in their services and competencies make a lot of intervention in public space. So it's not so difficult for local authorities to use this visual-based approach in their daily action.
And now, finally, let's go to Bosnia and Herzegovina for the multisensory approach. What did they do?
Yes, in Prijedor, our partner Preda was the only partner that used a multi-sensory approach, not just one sense, but a lot of them with a specific target that are children. They use a multi-sense workshops to target children with the explicit goal of creating a child-to-parent transfer mechanism, let's say. The children bring the sustainable lessons home. Here, I think that the most relevant lessons we have from this specific experience is the long-term strategy for policy impact. I mean, we are working with the next generation that they are not only building awareness for them, let's say, but they are also influencing the present, bringing all their learns at home with their parents, let's say.
So, Francesco, to summarize the policy value, we are talking about moving beyond top-down regulation towards institutionalizing these interventions, which are evidently bottom-up, evidence-based, and emotionally resonant. It is about creating a new policy toolkit which nudges us to go closer to a green future thanks to the contribution of culture and art. Do you agree with this summary?
Yes, yes. Our project is about building a climate resilient society through the emotional engagement, not just the rational compliance, let's say. And the next step is let's say, the Thessaloniki Pact, which we have just signed a few days ago. It is the commitment to make this sensory cultural approach a permanent approach in European policies. From our point of view, local authorities are the more entitled to use this approach because they can easily use cultural nudges in public space and other intervention at local level. So we are not just nudging citizens. I mean, the project is a policy-oriented project. What we want is starting to nudge policymakers, let's say, to embrace this more human and more effective way to achieve climate goals. Take the example, for instance, of Valencia, as I am in Valencia. And after the Dana, this dramatic flood of October 24, you and probably me, probably also you, we still remember how the mud smelled and colored our streets. And this is a far more convincing argument to do something concrete against climate change, far more concrete and far more convincing than any collection of data or statistic on temperature, rainfalls, and other climate change data, let's say.
Okay, so you mentioned the Thessaloniki Pact, but what is this about? I'm not sure I got it right.
Yeah, the Thessaloniki Pact is our declaration of intents. It's how we are planning as a NAGIS consortium, I say, or also as individual partners, to capitalize the project experience in the coming months and year. It was signed a few days ago, on December 3rd in Thessaloniki, because of the name it takes, by all members of our consortium, the project consortium, to formally commit to the next that we think is a crucial step, that is establishing a permanent and not-for-profit association, which will bring the project concept and achievement forward and to the next stage. We want to transform, let's say, this temporary project into a permanent institutional force for climate policy reform in Europe, but also in other regions, based, of course, on this new approach on cultural nudges.
That sounds very interesting, but suppose I wanted to join, what should I do? How can I make myself visible to you, or is it a private club that you are about to form with your colleagues?
No, not at all. Actually, now we need and we want to expand our community of interest that is already active on both sides of Mediterranean, northern and southern shores of Mediterranean. And we already count with more than 150 stakeholders approximately that want to join the idea of cultural and artistic nudges, let's say. So we are open to new stakeholders.
Okay, but you didn't tell me yet what or how I can practically join your community. How can I, as an individual or an organization, get involved right now?
Yes, it's very, very easily. You can sign the Nudges manifesto, and it gives you the opportunity to be updated about all the news about the next step of Nudges project. The Nudges manifesto is our, say, declaration of principles. It's say theoretical and philosophical foundation of our community. And is a document that anyone can sign, and in that way also joining the community of interest of the project.
So the manifesto is for the community.
I'm really sorry, but we have 3 minutes left and we still have one presentation. I have to interrupt you. I'm deeply sorry. One last word maybe before we move on to the presentation of Mr. Hasni.
Yes, maybe just inviting you to sign the manifesto because you find all the information, and also we will keep informed about the next steps.
Thank you very much, and again, really sorry. It was a great presentation. Thank you very much for this very dynamic format. Mr. Hasni, I leave you.
Yes. Yes. Speak French, please.
Votre présentation est en français?
Oui, en tout cas, elle est orale. Hein. J'ai pas pu. J'ai un souci sur mon micro, donc je vais la présenter oralement, si vous permettez.
Je pense qu'il y a la traduction simultanée.
D'accord.
I think we have to switch for the interpretation in English if.
Yes, there is. In English and French, there is interpretation.
Yeah, if we don't understand French. Allez-y, Monsieur Hasni. Nous vous écoutons.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur Massabo. Je vous remercie de cette opportunité pour qu'on puisse faire connaître notre association Energy Cities Algeria. Energy Cities Algeria, c'est une association nationale de villes créée en 2018. Elle a été créée en première phase en 2003 suite à un projet européen avec l'association française Energy Cité. C'était un projet concernant un audit sur l'efficacité énergétique dans les bâtiments publics au niveau de la ville d'Alger, où personnellement, j'étais vice-président élu au niveau de la ville d'Alger, et j'ai chapeauté, ou plutôt j'ai suivi ce projet-là, cet audit-là, et suite à ça, j'ai créé l'association au niveau de la ville d'Alger. Et en 2018, elle est devenue nationale. Donc, elle a un caractère environnemental, œuvrant dans le domaine de l'énergie aussi. Energy Cities aussi accompagne les collectivités locales dans la transition énergétique afin de mener des actions d'énergie durable, économie d'énergie et énergie renouvelable. Et en ce qui concerne l'efficacité énergétique au niveau des collectivités locales, c'était la mission principale de notre mission, d'accompagner les élus et des communes à l'échelle nationale sur des domaines d'actualité comme l'environnement, l'énergie renouvelable et l'efficacité énergétique. Donc, on a essayé aussi, à travers les missions de notre association, de mobiliser les citoyens parce qu'ils sont concernés directement, et aussi des élus et des décideurs autour des enjeux et des défis liés à l'efficacité énergétique. On a aussi dans nos missions le côté sensibilisation qui est un point très, très important dans les missions de l'association Energy Cities Algeria. C'est de sensibiliser aussi les citoyens. Il y a aussi le côté communication et renforcement des capacités des collectivités locales à travers des séminaires, des conférences et des journées d'études et des journées portes ouvertes. Donc tout ça, il se fait envers des communes à l'échelle nationale. Il y a aussi essayer de donner comment dirais-je, d'expériences à travers ce qui se fait en Europe et surtout au niveau du bassin méditerranéen, comme la France, l'Espagne, l'Italie, leur expérience dans ce domaine-là à travers notre association, et essayer de donner ces expériences-là aux communes d'Algérie.
Et peut-être, Monsieur Hasni, vous pouvez juste mentionner, parce que malheureusement, nous sommes un peu pris par le temps, cette initiative que nous souhaiterions développer sur les communautés énergétiques et ce dialogue avec les municipalités algériennes.
Oui, justement, dans le projet Euro-MED et à travers M. Massabo aussi, on s'est convenu d'essayer de travailler sur ce sujet-là. Il est d'ailleurs très important à travers les communes d'Algérie. Et d'ailleurs, j'en ai parlé au niveau de la responsable de la wilaya de Boumerdès pour qu'on puisse essayer de faire des campagnes de sensibilisation en premier lieu par des réunions de visio avec les communes. Et suite à ça, on verra l'évolution de cette expérience-là pour qu'on puisse aussi élargir le champ d'action de notre association et en même temps du projet Euro-MED qui sera, je pense, très bénéfique pour nos communes au niveau national. Et donc, on est dans cette démarche-là. On essaiera dans les jours prochains de prendre contact avec ces responsables-là au niveau des départements ou des wilayas pour qu'on puisse réaliser ce projet qui est pour nous, qui est très, très important. Ce qui va donner un appui aux responsables et aux présidents des communes. Les présidents des communes au niveau de la wilaya d'Alger en première phase. Et ensuite, ça sera pour d'autres communes, que ce soit à l'est ou à l'ouest du pays.
Un grand merci, monsieur Hasni.
Voilà.
Nous restons en contact, bien sûr.
Il n'y a pas de souci, monsieur Massabo. Et je vous remercie pour cette opportunité-là que vous m'avez donnée pour qu'on puisse être en contact avec tous les membres du bassin méditerranéen et je pense que c'est une très très bonne initiative pour nous et pour l'association. Merci beaucoup à tous les participants.
Merci à vous et désolé, nous avons dû être un peu rapides.
Non, il n'y a pas de souci, il n'y a pas de souci, il n'y a pas de souci. Merci beaucoup. Et bon courage.
I think we have to go back to the plenary session. You can use the link which is in the chat.